Duh.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to episode number 5 of Playing with House Money present the Soccer Gambling Cognoscenti. I'm Ice. You can find me on Twitter at Iceman_1013. And this is my consigliere, DJ Prue. How you doing today, my man?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. I'll tell you that much. Because hey, if you hating from outside the club, it's time to get in, y'all. Hey, it's time to get in, bro. I'm trying to tell you, it's week 5. You've missed 4 weeks of just rampage, and even with the one that wasn't just a complete massacre, it was still a great weekend. So I don't even want to hear you rebuttal that part. It's been 4 weeks of a straight rampage. Get here. The SGC is here to stay.
Yeah, man. I mean, we kicked last Friday off with a nice. I mean, you weren't here last week, so we accepted your apologies, and yeah, I had to fly solo a little bit, but we put some decent bets out there. We started Friday with PSG and Bayern. It was a good Friday. It was very close. My boy Victor Boniface had himself multiple chances, and a goal from him would have made
Yeah.
we'd have been at plus 15 units on
Yeah.
Friday alone, I think. As it was, we took the 200 plus 200 double from last Friday's show. We added a couple of bits to that. We got a plus 391 winner. We just added another game. We could have gone higher in that other game as well, which was a little bit frustrating, but we took that. Saturday, I think I went 3 of 5 of the props that we talked about on the show. Brighton away at United that plus money line was stupid. They made Man United look silly, which is exactly what I said they were going to do. Plus 112 for them to score 2. And I think I talked about on the show that I was going to ladder those goals, and then I never did, which is, again, just annoying. Spurs made hard work of it, but they got their 2 goals. And then Inter Milan did exactly, I think a lot more to AC Milan than I thought they were going to do. They scored their 2 goals in the first half. They scored 5 in the end. So those 3 would have given you a nice little, plus 400, plus 500 treble. Unfortunately, the Newcastle game against Brentford, and then Atletico Madrid. I don't know what happened to Atletico Madrid. They just didn't show up and got beat by Valencia, which was just horrible. Absolutely made me look dumb. I posted it everywhere to say that I thought the line was dumb, and then made me look silly. But on Saturday in the Discord, which is $10 a month, by the way, hit us up, let us know. Playing with House Money Discord, $10 a month, getting free this month with the code NFL Kickoff. Join up. Links on the Twitter.
And it's free this month, and they would have made the $10 back Friday before they got off of work.
Oh, yeah, they would have made that money before they finished work on Friday. They would have then rolled that over to Saturday morning in the Bundesliga, and we cashed a plus 983 match goals parlay. We cashed a plus 1090 treble. We picked 4 goal scorers. 3 out of the 4 scored. If you RR'd the 4 of them first goal scorers, we got a plus 3200 double. The 2 we played as a double, plus 300, that cashed. We took a live money line on Dortmund at plus 300, that live snipe, that one cashed. And then we had a couple of EPL Premier League live bets. The Man City and Spurs was plus 321, and the Spurs game, I said this in the Discord, like we talked about it multiple times before on our Playing with House Money show months back. Spurs are just forever known as, the club that should be doing something. They were all over Sheffield United in that game, and I was just like, Sheffield United have a goal in them here, and it's plus 1100 on the money line.
Yeah.
We took a shot at it. Sheffield United did exactly that, went 1-0 up, but Tottenham were all over them. They'd had so many chances, so much possession that I said, hey, you know what? When that cash out gets to like plus 600, I'm going to take it. and I'm going to put it back on. You know, we had the live money line for Spurs anyway, so I'm just going to take it, put some of it back on the draw. They scored. I cashed out the draw bet and knew that we had the Spurs money line already. So we, you know, that kind of 2 hours between 9:30 when the Bundesliga kicked off and midday when the Premier League finished was, again, if you'd have joined on Friday for free, like you said, put the 200 or the plus 391 bet on, and then rolled that money over into some of these bets in that 2.5 hour window on Saturday morning, you'd have been able to afford, I don't know what. You go out and do what I did.
Well, over a year. And on top of that, what people need to understand is what we're saying is when you get into the Discord or you have conversations with Ice as these games are going, like, you're going to know that he's going to, like, when he says he's telling us, yeah, when that cash out gets to this, take it, yada, yada. Like, we're going to literally hold your hand through these bets. And essentially, yes, it is trust at the end of the day. You could have just sat back, took the Spurs money line and still hit, like, but why not double dip, triple dip, and in this one it was a trifecta of just,
and that's some
great gambling. That's just great gambling.
And it's knowing how the game's playing out, right, and being able to watch it or at the very least follow along live,
right,
like with it, and that sometimes plays against us a little bit. Sometimes I would love to just put my bet on, put my phone down, and come back in 2 hours and just see what hit and what didn't.
Impossible.
But yeah, there's so much money to be made with these live bets and seeing how games are going, and being like, okay, this team is so on top right now that
you coming for my title?
Huh?
You coming for my title? Is that what I'm hearing?
No,
that's crazy.
It's funny. It's funny. Like you can always be. I'll just be the live bet prince. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
That's cool. I'll accept that for sure. I need a nice point man. You've been taking the world by storm these last few weeks. So I don't know. I might just have to go ahead and give it to you.
And then, I mean, that's not it. We rolled into Saturday night. So that was it, right? We told I've been telling people for weeks that we're the SGC now own the Bundesliga. We made, we put the MLS back on notice again. We cashed a 940 MLS both teams to score. Shout out to my absolute boys, St. Louis City SC. Cashing us, they made that so much more hard work than they should.
It's been a rough season. It's been a rough season with them in Philly, but man, shout out to St. Louis for real. And yeah, it was literally if people need to understand, that was 7 a.m. to sundown. Like you just talked about a winner from 7 a.m. to sundown. Like what do you want? It's 16 hours of winners, y'all. It's 16 hours of winners. Stop snoozing.
Yeah, and then Sunday was, that was the pinnacle of the roller coaster. That was us at the top. Sunday we didn't have too many bets. We just kind of had the treble that we mentioned on the show, the Arsenal game, which, I mean, this proves my point and is why they are. I can say now, which is why I'm never going to bet on Arsenal again, and then you can already see that I'm going to talk about the Arsenal game this Sunday. But that's why I don't bet on Arsenal unless it's very specific games. And they prove my point. And I should have left them well alone. Infuriating for me, and hold my hands up to anyone that tailed that one. That was on me. But fortunately, it wasn't just Arsenal that let us down. Fiorentina, Atalanta went exactly how I hoped it would. Goals there. The French game absolutely killed us, 0-0, and then Bodo Glimt just didn't do anything
out of the
really.
Gate. Right out of the gate, it was perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
But no, so Sunday wasn't great for us. But all of those winners we just talked about, I haven't actually done the complete math at this point, but it's well over it. That Saturday on its own is plus 30.
It was
units or whatever. So even if we lost, we did because we didn't go super. There wasn't a huge amount of bets on Sunday because as soon as I went
Sunday morning,
Yeah, because as soon as I put those in, and I was like, "That's it," and the Arsenal game was the first one up, and that was killing me. It was the Chelsea game. Chelsea were
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
Chelsea were first, and I was like, "Hey, like we had Bournemouth, we faded Chelsea, and I was right to fade Chelsea because they're trash. They didn't
yeah.
win the game,
Dude, they've been
unfortunately.
horrible.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Bournemouth couldn't get the goal, so it was just a 0-0. Now, the thing I will say to you is, when I saw that, I hated that for the Arsenal game because this goes all the way back. This goes back to when I was still in the UK, and on Sundays it's called Super Sunday when you watch two EPL games back to back. They have them on TV. Now, me and my brother used to always say that whatever the result of the first game is, we're going to put that bet for the correct score because they used to mirror each other so often.
Yeah.
And it started to happen this season. And I meant to say it to you a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't. And then that game finished 0-0. And I was like, you watch this Arsenal game be 0-0 now.
Oh.
And I never said it. I never put it on because, of course, I had the over. And I wasn't going to jinx myself the first game out. And then it's 0-0 after 65 minutes. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. And that was it. And I was like, and I knew that from that Chelsea game being 0-0 and the way that Arsenal game started, I was like, I'm not going to put anything else on Sunday. Like, this one of those Sundays, I'm just going to take the money that we won on Saturday.
And that's better anyway.
Yeah.
It's better to do that anyway. Because if it would have finished 1-0 and we went on the 0-0, it would have been like,
yeah,
we're cursed. We're cursed.
Yeah, and that was it. So yeah, like, so what Prue's saying, like, yeah, and what did I do? I cashed out my money, treated the family, bought a bunch of stuff for myself, bought a new pair of sneakers for the wife, like bought a bunch of toys for the kid, like.
Yep. And she bought herself some too. So
oh yeah, and then
great weekend.
She's cashing her own winners. So yeah, like this week today, we have two games that I like. Not as big as last Friday.
Tell them where to find them though. We can't give people the cherry picking without letting them know where they're going first.
That's your job. Isn't that your job?
Yeah, that's why I'm cutting you off.
Oh,
I'm cutting you off. You know, we gotta save the vocal cords. You know, as I've been saying for the last weeks that you guys need to get to the SGC. I think everybody's been a little confused on where to go. So if you're watching on YouTube, we appreciate you. Like and subscribe, please. You can even leave us any comments. We've been going through it, actually replying to those as we go as well. Shout out to the people that have. If you're listening on anywhere you listen to podcasts, Apple Music, Spotify, again, leave us a review, 5 stars, please. Let us know what you guys like, what you don't, and come check out Playing with House Money every Thursday. We're there on Thursdays, so we made a slot for the SGC on Friday, of course, as you know. That's going to be mid-morning every Thursday, as this one is every Friday. And then any other questions on where to go, you can obviously get us on Twitter at PrewBaby10 on Twitter, at Iceman_1013, and at PW_House Money. You can ask about the Gilded, Toilets to Titles, fantasy football. We do it all. We got football, anything you need. So get there. Don't miss week 5. I'm telling you, do not miss week 5. And then once you make it through all those things, ask us about the Discord. We'll show you where to go. You got a free month using promo code NFL Kickoff. And yeah, man, come join the party, man. Don't miss too much more. We're talking 30-unit weekends every week, it seems. So
yeah,
let them know what they're looking at. Let them know what they're looking at this weekend now, boss.
Well, what we're looking at this afternoon in our favorite league, Germany, Stuttgart against Darmstadt. Stuttgart have the fella up front, Gurusay. He's cashed us multiple times, so he's less than plus money to score in this game. Darmstadt are a new side in the league. Stuttgart, I like for goals in this one. Gurusay to score twice is plus 400. So I might take that and double it up with someone else, but Stuttgart over 2.5 team total at plus 148. And then we have in France, Monaco against Nice. Monaco's goals in games record over their last 5 is insane. I think I talked about this 2 weeks ago, and they've carried it on. there's been 22 goals in their last 5 games, with a minimum of 3 in each one. And Nice have just beaten PSG in Paris. They won 3-2 away in Paris, and my boy Terem Moffi scored twice in that game. So again, he's plus 150 if he starts. And Monaco have just signed the American kid Balogun, who played last year. I actually think he might have even played for Nice last season. He was in the French league last year. He's actually an Arsenal player, or was an Arsenal player, and he was on loan last year. He went back to Arsenal, played in the Gold Cup for the US. I really wanted to keep him. I really like him as a player. But we sold him to Monaco. So he came off the bench and scored last weekend. If he gets the start, he's plus 190. But the main bet here is to match goals over 3.5, and that's plus 150. Double those two up, and that's where we're looking on Friday. Honestly, on Saturday, I don't. There's going to be a couple that I post in obviously there's Bundesliga Saturday morning, but get those in the Discord. Because that's going to be a whole league-wide thing that we're going to look at there. We're going to probably take something from most of those 5 games. EPL, I think there's only 3 games in the morning slate, and Man City at home is one of those, and there's no real value in that unless you're going 3, 4, 5 goals for them. And the other 2 games, I'm really on the fence with where to go, so I'll make those decisions once I see the teams. Really, the only thing for me, in the Europeans on Saturday is going to be AC Milan at home to Verona. It's in Serie A, and I really hate betting this league for the most part. AC Milan have actually been decent up until last weekend. They obviously got beat by Inter, but they just played this week in the Champions League at home to Newcastle. And they drew the game 0-0. So when you look at the final score of 0-0, it doesn't really scream anything, but they absolutely battered them. They should have won that game 3-4-0. They had so many chances, they just couldn't convert. And I feel like that is going to be similar story on Saturday, but they're playing Verona, who are much worse than Newcastle United. Newcastle have a decent goalkeeper, Nick Pope. One of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. So he had an outstanding game, probably took man of the match, to be perfectly honest. I don't see Verona doing that. So I'll probably just play a straight on the AC Milan team total over 2.5 at plus 176. And then really focus on the MLS Saturday evening. We have a couple of spots I really like in the early slate. We've got Atalanta, not Atalanta. They play in Italy. Atlanta at home to Montreal. Cincinnati at home to Charlotte. We know we talked about this with the home teams in the MLS.
Yeah.
Both of those home teams. Cincinnati a due a home game. Like, we bet on them the last home game, and it was the first time in a year that they hadn't scored. So I'm very confident that they don't go back to back. Yeah. And Charlotte do like to give up a few, so we get a good value on Cincinnati team total there. We have Philadelphia playing LAFC, 2 of my favorite teams in the league. Just love to attack these 2 guys. So we're taking the team, the match total there over 2.5 with the Atlanta and Cincinnati team totals. And then we move on. We've got Minnesota at St. Louis. Minnesota v. St. Louis, Kansas v. Houston, and Real Salt Lake against Vancouver. Now, each one of those 3 I do like for both teams to score. But if you're playing the parlay, I'm just taking them over 1.5 match goals, because if we get through the first 3, if we get halfway and we get the Atlanta, Cincinnati, and Philadelphia LAFC goals, I don't want to be waiting on, like last week, with like just one team to score and the games be 2-0 and me like, I should have just taken the over 1.5. I'll be a little bit frustrated if the games finish 1-1 or 2-1, but we'll take those separately. But for this one, the over 1.5s in those 3 games, Minnesota, Sporting Kansas, and Real Salt Lake, gives you a nice round plus 1,000 for 13 goals.
We love the lucky 13, and it's at plus 1,000 on the head.
Yeah.
I might just go put $17 on it or $13 on it, and just go ahead and we'll just put 13 on the plus 1,000 for the lucky 13, and see if fate loves us.
That's it, man. Like that was it. When I was looking at it, I didn't plan for it, and then I got to it, and I hit the Salt Lake over. I was like, no way that's plus 1,000, like on the nose, and it was. I was like, well, that'll do then. I'm not gonna worry about looking back and going, oh, can I take both teams to score here and there? Like, no, it's just too good to be true for it to be like that's the one. And then Sunday is the North London derby, and for us Arsenal fans, that has been. I was
going to say, you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I'll be fine, because over the last 10 years or so, we've absolutely dominated this fixture. And what I said earlier about I don't normally bet on Arsenal apart from very set games. This is the set game that is the only one historically for the last 5 years that I've bet on Arsenal in. Because we just, certainly at home, certainly at the Emirates, Tottenham do not like coming here. It's a bitter rivalry. But yeah, I mean, it's just they're going in the bet to begin with. They're not going in the bigger bet for Sunday just because I'm not losing 2 weeks in a row to them. They by rights, if they were playing anyone else this weekend, they would be nowhere near it. But because it's that game, it's kind of a bounce back. I'm going back to Brighton. Just all the time, Brighton are playing the way they are. We're riding the hot hand. They're at home to Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth played very well at home to Chelsea, as we mentioned last weekend, but Brighton are much better than Chelsea this season, and Brighton are at home. Chelsea were away. So Brighton again, Arsenal team total. These are all team totals, by the way. Home teams. We're trying to stick with the formula that we know works. Home teams scoring twice. Arsenal, Brighton, Bayer Leverkusen in Germany. They're playing against Heidenheim, another newly promoted side. So another one where the expectation is very heavily on Bayer Leverkusen to win that game. And then, yes, another team that let me down last weekend, Bodo Glimt. The expectation is that these teams are not going to play terribly 2 weeks in a row. Like, they're too good. They're too good in that league to only score 1 goal twice in a row, hopefully. Right. That's so it's those four teams over 1.5 team totals. It's plus 200, so it's not huge value. The plus 200, but we're going to hopefully have it, plus 200, and it'll be kind of sweat free. And then take Arsenal out of that. The triple Bs, Brighton, Bayer Leverkusen, Bodo Glimt, over 2.5 team totals is plus 620.
Big baller brand. Big baller brand. Shout out the triple Bs. Yeah.
So like that's where we're gonna go on Sunday, and that's really it. Like, obviously there'll be more. But that's they'll be in the Discord, they'll be on the Twitter. So jump in and follow us. But that's really where I'm looking for the weekend. Again, don't want to. We'll have some winners, but I just don't want to get too
humble,
too caught up in the
holy hell. Let them hang. We'll have some winners. Hey, a lot of value. That's the one thing I'll say. The one thing I will say about this slate is a lot of value found. Mm-hmm. And two, just like, the modesty is cool. We appreciate the gentle, the polite Englishman. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not the polite Englishman, and y'all ass need to stop playing and get this money, because there's going to be some winners. Like he said, there's going to be some winners. It's going to be a lot more than what his tone just said. I'll tell you that much. And even if one of the days go, not as planned, the man is going to adjust live. He's going to be adjusting live and changing any approach that, if need be. So there's going to be some winners. I know that much. And I'm not missing my beat.
No, and hey, episode 5 title, you don't need proof when you have instinct.
Let them know. Yeah. And we got the proof if you need it. That's the thing. We don't even care.
Yeah.
What you mean? You need the data, we got it. Let us know. It's on Twitter. You would see it on Twitter if you went and followed the pages we need you to follow. We're gonna let you know. We got the proof. We don't need it, but we got it. Hey, soccer goat. I've been saying it long before this show. Soccer goat.
Yes, sir. And that's it. I mean, yeah, he said at PruBaby10 on Twitter, at Iceman_1013, at PW_housemoney. Come follow us. Join us this weekend. Shoot us any questions. Watch the Playing with House Money episode from yesterday if you haven't already. Win some MLB bets, some college football bets, some NFL bets with us as well. And whatever it is you're betting on, good luck this weekend. And we'll be back next Friday playing with more house money, inviting you to join us at the SGC.
Yes, sir.